hearing any testimony on that this evening. So could I get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and we have one item on the consent agenda, the approval of the minutes for the April 19th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Could I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So at this time, I'd like to briefly explain the public hearing process for this evening. We'll open each item individually. And I'm going to stop just momentarily, and we'll acknowledge on the record that Commissioner Casanelli is present. Good evening. So we will open each item individually and then start with the staff report. The staff will report their findings regarding how the item adheres to our comprehensive plan and uniform development code with the staff's recommendations. After the staff has made their presentation, the applicant will come forward to present their case for the approval of their application and respond to any staff comments. The applicant will have 15 minutes to do so. After the applicant has finished, we will open to public testimony. There is a sign-up sheet in the back as you entered for anyone wishing to testify. Any person testifying will come forward and be allowed 3 minutes. If they are speaking for a larger group like an HOA and there's a show of hands to represent that group, they will be given up to 10 minutes. After all testimony has been heard, the applicant will be given another 10 minutes to have the opportunity to come back and respond if they desire. After that, we will close the public hearing, and the commissioners will take the opportunity to discuss and hopefully be able to make a recommendation to City Council. So at this time, I would like to open the public hearing for item 4A, Public Paramount Self-Storage, H-2018-0033. This item has been requested for a continuance to May 7th because of signage, improper signage.
Madam Chair, was that, what date was that? You had
May 17th.
May 17th.
And I think we have a draft of May 17th agenda. Okay.
Are we good to go? Do you know?
So if there's no discussion, could I get a motion to continue H-2018-0033?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to continue H-2018-0033 to May 17th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we will move on to open the public hearing for H-2018-0031 Calvary Chapel, and we'll begin with the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first application before you tonight is a request for a conditional use permit. And let me get on the right slide here. This site consists of 8.36 acres of land. It's zoned IL, Light Industrial, located at 3600 West Nellis Avenue. Adjacent land use and zoning to the north is the city's wastewater treatment plant, zoned IL. To the west is vacant land owned by the city for a future water reservoir, zoned CN, and agricultural land zoned RUT in Ada County. To the south is vacant undeveloped land, zoned CG, and to the east is also vacant undeveloped land, zoned IL. This property was annexed back in 2004 and included in the subdivision plat for McNellis subdivision. The comprehensive plan future land use map designation is mixed use, non-residential. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a church in the IL zoning district. The site plan submitted depicts a 28,000 square foot church with access via a local street within the subdivision, parking, drive aisles, a large grassy area with a walking path providing a connection from Nellis Avenue to the pathway along the west and north property boundaries, and a future parking area. Several Conceptual building elevations were submitted with this application as shown that demonstrate what the future building may look like. The structure is proposed to be 2 stories in height to allow for a high ceiling height in the main worship area with offices, meeting rooms, etc. above. Building materials are proposed to consist of a mix of materials including glass, stucco, metal panels, and stone-type materials on the front facade with the goal of using common materials in uncommon ways. For example, texture, pattern, orientation to provide visual interest. The future structure is required to comply with the design standards listed in the UDC and the Architectural Standards Manual. Staff is recommending the commercial standards rather than industrial apply to the proposed structure due to the type of use proposed and the commercial properties and uses to the south and the east. Written testimony has been received from Ed Mechtel, the applicant. He is requesting the project be held to the industrial design standards rather than the commercial design standards as recommended by staff. Staff is recommending approval of the subject conditional use permit and staff for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Perot?
could you give us, or give all of us, an idea of some examples of the differences between the commercial and industrial standards?
Chairman, Commissioner Perot, yes. A lot of times the industrial standards allow for more of the big box warehouse type uses that are typical in industrial areas. A lot of times industrial buildings will have more metal materials used. They won't have as much articulation, modulation, varying roof heights, that kind of thing. The elevations that are shown before you, I don't see any obvious issues with meeting the commercial standards. I think the applicant was just a little concerned that it might end up possibly costing more money. I don't really want to speak for the applicant, but he can address his reasons for that request.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Well, I see our applicant has come forward. And please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ed Mechtel. I represent Calvary Chapel Meridian. The address is 1550 South Tech Lane, Meridian, Idaho 83642. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to represent our church here this evening. And I'm going to speak only to our industrial standard and commercial standards concerns. I'm grateful that the project has been recommended for approval and grateful for the help we've received from the staff here. Been very supportive. So I sent the staff this particular return, and I have 5 reasons on here that we're asking to stay in industrial zoning. One is that the lot in particular question is industrial zone at this time and was moved to that particular zoning in 2012 when there was an amendment to the development agreement with the city of Meridian and the owner. So the whole pretense, I believe, was a mixed zoning development to begin with. And so as you can see, and just as staff has reported, the sewer treatment plant borders us to the north, and additional industrial zoning properties border us to the east and northeast. There is commercial zoning properties directly east and across Nellis Avenue to this particular parcel. Due to the position of the building on the lot, we've been asked to create an enlarged zone of landscaping to kind of conceal the parking and make the project look nicer. And given that request, we feel like the building won't very well be seen much at all from the public or from the street, and think that we'd like to have a little bit more lax ability in the industrial zoning standards. The particular project right now is at the cost of about $5.5 million, and we would like to minimize any budgetary impact over and above that in the project. And while I can't really say that that's exactly what would happen, we'd like the freedom to be able to, be cost effective. As you can see by the elevations submitted, we're not trying to create a box type of building, and we want it to be very appealing. And we want it to be, you know, an enhancement to the subdivision. Although the lots southeast and south are zoned commercial, the overall project, both building and landscaping, will be an enhancement to the subdivision and the future development opportunities there. And it's our intention to create a very nice building. We're not looking for a square box. We want it to be appealing, and we want it to be something that the city of Meridian and the citizens that come to our church and those that will be coming to our church would really enjoy and be beneficial. I'd also like to cite in the beginning of the standards manual, it's actually on page A4, there's two things here that are mentioned, and that you can design standard exceptions is what it says in this heading. And the second bullet down there, it says, does strict adherence to the standards create inconsistency in the design objective of the proposed development? And we just kind of feel like the mixed use and mixed zoning in the development was attractive to us to begin with, and that we really feel like it would just not be detrimental to appearance or the development of the property to remain in the IL zoning and to be able to stick to the industrial standards in the design manual. It's kind of all I got.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you. I do not have anybody signed up on the sheet that indicates that they would wish to testify, but is there anyone in the room that wishes to testify on this application? Okay. Last chance at any questions for the applicant. Okay. So at this time, could I get a motion to close the public hearing for item H-2018-0031?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to close the public hearing for item H-2018-0031. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I personally think it's a great use of the property. I'm glad to see it. I would be somewhat in support of staff of having that, I mean, just because they've already presented such beautiful facades. I think they're already in that commercial, I mean, at least at the front of the building, because the back of the building obviously isn't going to be seen by anybody but the storage lot on the other side. But that entryway, I think, is beautiful, so I don't know what exactly, how the rest of the commission feels about putting some teeth into that and making that, just since it is a transitional lot between other commercial and the industrial next to it. What's out in front of it is commercial and subdivision, which I think they've presented a beautiful, beautiful facade options.
So are you thinking we should hold to the standard of the commercial or allow him the industrial?
Is it possible to have commercial standings on the front of the building and allow them to do what they want on the back? Allow more allow that commercial or industrial look to the back of the building?
Yes, Madam Chair, design standards really aren't applicable when the building or part of the building isn't viewable from the public street or a public space. If you'd like to specifically, state that the commercial standard should apply to the front, though, that's perfectly fine.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Casanelli.
To me, it seems fine to go with industrial. I think their plan, their intent is to not have, four-sided tilt-up concrete walls. They want to make it attractive. They want to, they want to have some beauty there. It's tucked back in behind other commercial, and like was brought up, backs up to the wastewater treatment plant and a storage unit. So where it's located, I think the industrial, I like what they've seen, and to keep it in the industrial design standards, I think it will look good and it'll fit in well.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Holland?
I tend to agree. I don't see that the way that they've presented it, I don't see a concern whether it's industrial versus commercial. I think the project seems like a pretty good fit, and it's tucked away from the street, so it's not going to be a major frontage issue by any means. So I guess I'm okay with it either way as well.
Yeah, it just seems like the, you know, if they have maybe some verbiage that it's similar to the examples shown or something. But, you know, it's an industrial zoning, so.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
I think I would have a tendency to lean to allow them the industrial use. Interestingly enough, there's a church on Meridian Road south of the interstate that's actually a concrete tilt-up wall building. Actually, it looks very nice. I mean, it's right there against Meridian Road, and they actually done a very good job making that look really good. So I think there's ways that they have flexibilities to make it look good and actually try to keep their costs down as well. So given where it's at and the fact that it'll be set back quite a ways, and I do think that they will try to make the entrance feature more attractive for their patrons. So I would be in favor of allowing them their industrial net.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Perot?
I agree with my fellow commissioners. So long as it's similar and like in kind to these renderings, I think it'll be great, and it is far enough off of U-Stick. I wouldn't have concerns about it.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Holland?
I'll attempt to make a motion.
Okay.
After considering all staff, applicant, and public testimony, I move to approve file number H-2018-0031 as presented in the staff report for the hearing date of May 3rd, 2018, with the following modification: that the staff recommendation for commercial standards be struck, and the application could look at industrial standards, with a note that they would be similar to the presentation that we received today at the council meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve H-2018-0031 with modifications. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, so we will move on and open H-2018-0029, Zimmerman Auto Body, and we'll begin with the staff report.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the next application before you is a request for annexation and zoning. This site consists of 1.13 acres of land. It's zoned R1 in Ada County and located at 1775 West Pine Avenue. The comprehensive plan future land use map designation is medium density residential, as shown on the future land use map on the left there. The abutting property to the south is designated general industrial. Because the future land use map is a vision for a built-out meridian and contains a variety of very diverse land uses and is not necessarily parcel specific, staff is recommending the general industrial designation on the abutting property to the south is floated to the 0.72 of an acre portion of the site proposed to be rezoned to IL. The applicant is proposing to annex 3 parcels of land totaling 1.13 acres with R8, which is 0.42 of an acre, and IL, which is 0.72 of an acre, zoning districts consistent with the future land use map designations of medium density residential and the floated general industrial. There is an existing home and accessory structure used as an auto body shop on the property as shown on the site plan. The applicant's narrative states he's lived in the home and operated the auto body shop since 1999. The shop operates approximately 3 to 4 days a week, and all power tools are used inside the shop so as not to disturb the adjacent neighbors. Vehicles serviced by the shop are immediately moved behind the fence and are kept there until the repair work is completed and the owner picks up the vehicle. In 2000, the subject property was hooked up to city water and sewer service but was never annexed. The reason the applicant is requesting annexation into the city at this time is because of violations in Ada County related to not being approved to operate the auto body shop at his residence in the R1 zoning district. Because the current parcel configuration does not allow the home to comply with the minimum rear setback standards of the R8 district, staff is recommending the applicant submit and obtain approval of a property boundary adjustment application to enlarge the residential parcel proposed to be zoned R8 so that the setback can be accommodated, and combine the narrow parcel along the west boundary of the site with the larger parcel proposed to be zoned IL. The proposed zoning boundary is consistent with the future parcel lines. Because letters have been submitted from adjacent homeowners, which are indicated by all the red dots on the map on the right there, they are in agreement with the proposed annexation and continued use of the property as is. Staff is not recommending compliance with any current development standards. However, if redevelopment occurs in the future, the development standards in effect at that time will apply, including but not limited to provision of cross-access to adjacent properties to the east and the land use buffers to residential uses and districts. Staff is recommending approval of the proposed annexation and zoning with a development agreement that restricts the use of the property to the existing uses and requires a modification to the agreement for any expansion of the existing use or change in use to another industrial use. Written letters of testimony from adjacent property owners, as I mentioned, are included in the application. Staff will stand for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Would the applicant like to come forward? And please state your name and address for the record.
Sure, Commissioners. My name is Kylie Madsen. I represent the Zimmermans regarding this matter. I don't have too much to add.
We need your address too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1775 West Pine.
Yes.
And
Say it into the microphone. He's got to hear.
1775 West Pine, and there's 1785 West Pine.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have too much to add to Sonia's presentation, although I will mention that the applicant is in agreement with the recommendations by the city, including they would agree to signing the development agreement should that when that is available and ready when that time comes. And as she mentioned before, the Zimmermans have sought and obtained the approval of this proposal from pretty much all of their neighbors, save one that you can see on that map that is being rented currently. So we would love to entertain any questions should there be any for us.
Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you very much. We would normally take public testimony at this time, but there is nobody that has indicated that they wish to testify, but is there anybody in the room that would like to do so at this time? Okay. Again, one more stab at questions for the applicant. All right, then could I get a motion to close the public hearing for H-2018-0029?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to close public hearing on H-2018-0029. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Yearsley.
been so long since I've been here, you forgot who I am. I think the staff has done a very good job identifying the issues and making appropriate recommendations, especially with cleaning up the lot lines and making sure that the zoning fits the use. So with that, I don't see, where they've reached out to their neighbors and no one's really come out and said, we don't like this, and they've been in business for so long. I don't see an issue with approving this application.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a testament to obviously the way he handles his business, that he's got so much support surrounding him. And especially since they're already hooked up with city sewer and water, I think it's appropriate that it be annexed. And if we can take care of a couple minor issues with some property adjustment and cleaning it all up, I think it's a great addition to the city of Meridian.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Pearl?
I agree with the staff's recommendation regarding the DA, and I think that's a wise choice for, just to make sure that his use is protected in future use, and as long as the applicant's compliant, willing to be compliant with that, I don't see any concerns.
Sounds like everybody's happy.
Sounds good.
And would somebody like to make a motion?
Madam Chair, after considering all staff applicant public testimony, I move to recommend approval to the City Council file number H-2018-0029 as presented in staff report for the hearing date of May 3rd, 2018, with the modification to have the signed approval of a DA.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve H-2018-0029. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Welcome to the city of Meridian.
Madam Chair,
Who would like the honors? Mr. Yearsley.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting for May 3rd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Enjoy the sunshine.
Holy smokes.
30 minutes, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good.
I missed half of it.
We almost had to wait on you. Steve was just a few minutes, but we were having technical difficulties anyway, so the soonest we could have started was about 6:05, I think.
Would have been interesting. They were against it. I wish they would have testified why.
Yeah. Well, I went and asked him. When he went back and got the sheet, he went over and asked us that we're saying. Yeah.
You're right, I have had so many people comment to me about the Paramount Apartments that are right next to where that I am surprised that we didn't have people show up for the storage units as well. There's been a lot of heated debate about those apartments. Even though they're almost built, people are still ticked off. They are there. I mean, I have several friends in Paramount, and I know realtors in Paramount, and many people have said this is nothing like what they said it was gonna look like. It wasn't supposed to be this tall, it wasn't supposed to be this dense. I mean, people have a lot to say, so I'm never gonna keep it. Maybe they're figuring, well, what's the as bad? It just can't be as bad as the apartments.
Yeah. Someone mentioned something to me about them the other day too.
They are. Those
It was a lot.
are.
No, I haven't driven past them.